And now it's time for my favorite part of the show. Oh boy, love my favorite part of the show. It's time for my auspicious op-ed. So I composed words and they meant something to me. And I hope that you guys do similar things when stuff means stuff to you. And I hope you share it with others. And I hope that you continue to do so and encourage others to do that. So let's get on with it. Auspicious op-ed number 40. Predictive Programming Animated Retrospective. Esoteric Rainbow Bright. All right, let's do it. Let's take another trip back in time to derive some more esoteric wisdom and warnings from the past with a surprisingly insightful 1984 cartoon classic. Rainbow Bright has been unexpectedly mind-blowing, especially upon rewatching it recently. It is unfortunate that the quality in animated entertainment dropped off by the late 80s and almost exclusively was pushed to the straight-to-video market and cable markets by the late 90s. It would appear that the microgeneration known as Zennials, born between 1975 and 1985, were the main group who had television act not only as an entertainer, but also a teacher, a mentor, a counselor, a babysitter, and a friend. As a member of this microgeneration, while many of the millennials seem off-put by the concepts of children being really independent, children being conscious consumers, and children being a vital part to a robust society, I have a very different perspective, having lived the very 80s kid lifestyle of being treated by my society as a little miniature adult, and am so very grateful to have had the magical milestones and memories created that were rooted in youth and media culture of the time. This is such a unique series to cover in respect to esoteric features and predictive programming. I'm going to start us off with some interesting hyperbole to kick off this discussion. If I were to describe the timeline we're currently experiencing as a shared collective in the form of a sequel that was never made, I would go so far as to say we are currently living in the dystopian sci-fi horror sequel to Rainbow Bright, and am prepared to state my case with some helpful links in the description box so you too can enjoy watching the show for free. Don't forget to share all this awesome free stuff I source for everyone with everyone you think might take some interest. I always love a good free link, and I'm sure your friends will too. Let's make the most of this internet we share while we still have one, shall we? Rainbow Bright is an adorable and mindful series that bridges 3 realms for the most part: Rainbow Land, Earth, and the Pits, although there is a bit of mention regarding other realms in a few episodes, including some aliens. These realms are magical and interconnected in the storylines, showing very clear distinctions between intentions, morality, ethics, and social interactions between those who would be deemed good, bad, neutral, and yes, unhinged. It was the 80s, and we still talked about that stuff. The main characters consist of Rainbow Bright, her horse Starlight, Twink the Sprite, the Color Kids and all the other sprites, her 10-year-old friend from Earth named Brian, and the villains Murky and Lurky. It all begins with a young girl's esoteric quest of bringing color to a desolate land by locating the sphere of light and completing a multitude of tasks. Those who like their role-playing games know this routine all too well, especially if you like to grind away on a good JRPG like myself. She becomes Rainbow Bright upon successful completion of her quest and is charged with the task of leadership and responsibilities over all the colors of the universe with the help of the Color Kids and their sprite assistants. Murky and Lurky, the main villains, are an astoundingly accurate representation of unresolved toxic mother wounds and childhood trauma manifest into a life of spreading misery through trickery and the utilization of the dark arts that, when overlapped with the very real allegory of how the 3D Matrix is run by narcissists with a penchant for exploitation, distortion, and destruction, that is also connected to black magic, secrecy, and deception being the primary means to fueling an obsession rooted in a similar unresolved, oftentimes heavily repressed, childhood traumas and toxic family dynamics. Add in the battle over the most important resource required to keep color in the universe, the care over the caves that house the color crystals needed to make the star sprinkles that power all the colors throughout the realms is incredibly important, much like our natural resources' role in the health and well-being of our surroundings and its inhabitants here on Earth. Like many shows of this time period, especially the other Hallmark properties that were turned into kid shows and toy lines, a high importance is placed on learning valuable interpersonal and social lessons with a heavy focus resting on the vitality of a good attitude and clear sense of morality. Another great feature is all the meaningful depictions of comparing the mindset and methods that differ between those who live in Rainbow Land, the pits, Earth, and other realms. Storylines are episodic and consistently revolve around solving a complex dilemma through approaching tasks with the proper spirit, critical thinking, cooperation, and solving problems the right way. It is very sad for me to say this, but I feel that my generation was the last to have these values directly instilled on a regular basis, and many of my former peers had these values corrupted out of them due to the self-fulfilling prophecy of our social fabric degrading as a trade-off to secure some type of assumed guarantee regarding your security and comfort in life by way of an exaggerated emphasis on career and investments that overshadows all other aspects of one's life in exchange for said supposed guarantees. This is a centuries-old false dichotomy used to condition the masses into a fearful, permission-seeking citizenry ready to pull a fast one for a quick come-up, like those who hold and foster illusory powers appear to possess and claim to offer, with no such real or true guarantee. Just emotional blackmail and mind control tactics to counter dissent, aka black magic, satanic ritual abuse, secret society, public-private partnerships, executing covert psychological operations, organized conspiratorial campaigns, organized community harassment, gang stalking, etc. I'm gonna have to apologize for the excess editing this episode. Solar storm just hit, and I'm really feeling it, so my apologies, guys. Let me finish up with this op-ed. I have noticed that these lessons have been missed by almost everyone I know who demonizes television and praises books. Like many elites and academics virtue signal about, and in turn reveal their ignorance self-imposed through a retarding level of snobbery and a paranoid sheltering that they apply to their media preferences. I've said it since I was a child, and it has become more clear to me now than ever. People with an unusual xenophobia regarding the television seems to not like it because it clearly displays examples of their shortcomings in stunning 4K with Dolby surround sound. These types hate hearing about themselves, so they tend to act like murky and lurky when they're triggered. So they really hate how cartoons easily display to kids of all ages what villains look like, because it holds a mirror up to their behavior that they do not find flattering in the slightest. Many other classic childhood lessons covered also appear to have been either sanitized or outright removed from 21st century children's entertainment and culture. The amount of developmental milestones being delayed and IQs in decline over the past few decades is most astonishing, but not at all surprising when we care to couple the effects of depriving children from passive learning opportunities that they enjoy and leave a lasting impression, combined with the multifaceted stimulatory overload of the tech kids have now compared to my childhood back in the 1980s. The tainting of our food supply, water, air cannot be helping, but I think the erosion of everyone's humanity and spiritual fortitude imposed by systems that murky and lurky would love to try their hands at if given the chance. I hate to think that it is intentional to deprive children of meaningful entertainment because it simply does not coincide with outcomes that they would favor. Personalities like murky and lurky, but that is the world we live in. We can track and trace the trends of censorship or availability to confirm said suspicions. Classic lessons commonly taught to children across on-air broadcast television, sprinkled with esoteric undertones, linking easily observable understandings of metaphysics, ethics, alchemy, psychology, morality, ecology, economics, social nuances, expectations, risk assessment and mitigation, reasonability, and aesthetics, make Rainbow Bright a relatively philosophically robust kids show for the elementary school demographic that can be enjoyed by kids of all ages. Take care to look for all the hidden history hints and predictive programming components that tend to drive the motivations of the characters and hide in the backgrounds and in the landscapes. I feel that the way Murky and Lurky are obsessed with spreading misery and darkness to all corners of existence is the overarching primary warning about a world where people stop caring about happiness, benevolence, and beauty because they appear to believe that if they are able to paint such an illusion, they can overpower color in the universe, and it is theirs to command, so now they have assumed to be its creators. This is very similar to the mindsets of those corporate overlords, academic cronies, and other proponents of the ruling class, with their playbooks focused on similar means to devise what is intended to be easy, illusory control, generally rooted in the many forms of deception we have seen across the many tales commonly known from everyday life, literature, history, and other experiences. Okay, everyone, my EMF sensitivity is like off the chain. I'm having massive brain zaps. Solar storms are no fun. I'm going to try to push through this episode. I really apologize. I got to get this out here, though. This has been just on the back burner for too long. I'm going to do better next time, I swear to you. All right. Listening to the villains' thought processes while carrying out their various deception and trickery to gain power over primary resources, like color itself, to then claim ownership over all that are effective, was an important warning sent directly to kids from the creators of these works, while the television distribution industry appears to have turned its back entirely on serving other generations of children with enjoyable and fun passive learning experiences that focus on making a better world. Themes of betrayal, plunder, exploitation, extortion, industrialization, transhumanism, outer-worldly civilizations visitation, technology that encompasses biological and spiritual components of production, resource management, conservation, mediation, and unification for the greater good are all topics covered in a way that a 3 to 7-year-old can understand and later on in development use as an allegory to explain things that need to be paid attention to in the world around them. A steady set of humor, reason, and well-written dialogue is something I appreciate so much more as an adult revisiting this classic series. I'd love to hear what stood out to everyone who take the time to watch the series and reflect on it. As always, the links to watch Rainbow Bright for free on YouTube are provided, with all the links I share in the description box and in this episode's playlist featured on the channel for easy access to all the videos discussed on the show. And that brings us to the end of today's enlightening media adventure.